Hi guys, welcome back to ladensercrochets. If you're new to the channel, you're welcome. Kindly subscribe and join the family. In this tutorial, we're making a kimono. This can be a mere kimono that you put over an outfit, or you can use it as a beach cover-up. Don't forget to like, share and comment. Grab your materials and enjoy the tutorial. I'm using this acrylic yarn. It's a medium weight yarn. And then you're going to need a pair of scissors, a darning needle, stitch markers. I'll use my 4.0 millimeter crochet hook. Then I'll also need a measuring tape. We're going to start by creating panels, and we're going to create 3 panels, 1 back panel, and then you're going to need 2 front panels and then 2 sleeves. So for the back panel, you're going to need to get your full length, the full length of the kimono that you want to work. Let me show you the length of this kimono that I've done. So measuring from the top right here all the way to the bottom. My kimono has a length of 51 inches. That is from the shoulders down to the heel. That is 51. Then you're going to need the hip measurement, and you're going to take your hip measurement and divide it by 2. And this is how we measure the hips. Like this. So my hip measurement is 45, and as you can see, when I worked the back panel, I went up to somewhere between 22 and 23. Actually, it gets me to 23 inches. When multiplied by 2, that will be 46. So half of your hip measurement is what the measurement that you're going to use to work the back panel. Now, this is the width, which is half of the hip measurement. Then this is the length, and my starting chain represents the length of the kimono. So when you're chaining your first chain, it should be the length of the kimono that you want. For this one, I did a chain of 161. It should be a multiple of 4 plus 1. So it was 160 plus 1. That gets me to 161. So now I'm going to illustrate to you how to make this. Begin with a slip knot. Then make a chain that will give you the full length of the kimono that you want. I'm going to make a chain of 160 plus 1, which is 161. So I have my 161 chains, and this is the full length of my kimono. I'm going to start row 1, and to do that, we're going to hold the last chain like this and chain 1 more. Then insert the hook into that chain that we are holding, yarn over and pull up a loop to get 2 loops on the hook, yarn over and pull through the 2 loops to complete a single crochet. Insert your hook into the next chain and do a single crochet there. Single crochet into the next chain, and we're going to place 1 single crochet into all the chains till we get to the end of row 1. At the end of row 1, we should have 161 single crochets, or the same number of stitches as the chain that you began with. So now go on, work your single crochets. I'll meet you at the end of row 1. I'm at the end of row 1, just placing the last single crochet there, and I'm ready to begin row 2. So we're going to chain 3 at the beginning and turn The chain 3 acts as a double crochet and a chain 1, then yarn over, insert your hook into the first stitch, pull up a loop and pull through 2, then pull through 2 to complete a double crochet, chain 2, yarn over, count 4 stitches, insert your hook into the fourth, do a double crochet, chain 1, and do another double crochet into that same stitch. So we've skipped 3 stitches and we're going to be skipping 3 all through, chain 2, yarn over, count 1, 2, 3 and 4, do a double crochet into the fourth stitch, chain 1, another double crochet, and we are creating V stitches, chain 2, yarn over, skip 3 stitches, work into the fourth, place a double crochet, chain 1, another double crochet into that same stitch, and this is what we have. So we are working V stitches separated by 2 chains, and we are skipping 3 stitches, then working into the fourth. So this is a pattern that I'm going to repeat till I get to the end of row 2. So keep going. I'll meet you at the end of row 2. I'm coming to the end of row 2 and I'm doing the second last V stitch. Then at the end I'm going to chain 2, yarn over, and right now I have 4 stitches remaining, so I'll count the 4, work into the fourth stitch, which is the last stitch, place a double crochet, chain 1 and another double crochet into that same last stitch, and that's the end of row 2. And this is what we have. As you can see, we have our V stitches all the way to the end. Next, we begin row 3 by chaining 3, 1, 2 and 3, then turning. And now we're going to be working on the V stitches, or in the chain 1 gap that we've been creating with the V stitches. So yarn over, insert your hook into that first gap and do a double crochet. So that together with the other double crochet, we have 2 of them. Chain 2, skip into the next gap, do a double crochet, chain 1, another double crochet, then we're going to chain 2, move into the other V stitch and work a double crochet V stitch on top of it, chain 2, work a V stitch onto the previous V stitch, chain 2 and continue to the end. This pattern is very simple from this point on, and we're going to be repeating row 3 until we get to the width of the kimono that you want. Remember, we are working lengthwise, so as we increase the rows, we are increasing the width, which is the hip measurement, and you want to work your back panel until you get to half of your hip measurement. So I'll keep going to the end of row 3, then I'll meet you there, show you how to begin row 4, and then I'll let you keep going because this is just one row repeat and it's very simple. I'm at the end of row 3 and I'm just chaining 2 and doing the last V stitch into that last gap. So double crochet, chain 1, another double crochet, and this row 3 is the row that we are repeating. So we are starting with a chain 3 and turning, then beginning into that last chain 1 gap, we place a double crochet to make a V stitch, chain 2, work a double crochet into the next chain 1 gap, chain 1, another double crochet to create a V-stitch. So we're just creating V-stitches on top of the previous V-stitches. So now keep going, repeating row 3 until you get half of your hip measurement when you're measuring the width of your work. I'll meet you there. I'm done with the back panel, and this is the width, and I've done a total of, let's count the number of rows: 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, and 39. So I've done a total of 39 rows. This is half of my hip measurement, and when I hold my work like this is the length all the way down. So next I'm going to show you how to do this final single crochet row that I've already done on this panel. So I'll illustrate using one of the front panels. Now let me confirm the number of rows that you're going to need for the front panel. Now to work the front panel, you need to leave out some space for the neckline. I've done a total of 13 rows in each of the front panels. So 13 rows on one side, 13 rows on the other side. To know the number of rows that you're going to work for the front panels, you need to count the rows with the double crochets. So I have a single crochet row on this side and a single crochet on the other side. So that means I'll take 39 minus 2, that will be 37. I'm going to take my 37 rows and subtract 11, and this will give you, so 11 is a standard for everybody. So you might have worked 38, or you might have worked 40 rows. Whatever you've worked, you're going to subtract 11. So my 37 minus 11 will give me 26. Then I'm going to take the 26 and divide it by 2, and this will give me 13. That means my front panel will have 13 rows of the V-stitch. The V-stitch rows, then plus 2 rows of the single crochet rows. So in total there'll be 15. 2 single crochet rows, 13 V-stitches in between. 13 V-stitch rows, that is. So if your rows are, say, 40, you're subtracting 11, this will give you 29. You can round it off to 30, so that you take 30 divided by 2, and this will be 15 rows of the V-stitch rows. Then you're going to add the 2 single crochet rows. In total you'll have 17. So get the number of rows that you've worked and work it out like this, so that you work the front panel. Now that I'm already done with one of the front panels, I'm just going to illustrate how to do the final single crochet row. So now this is one of my front panels, and it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13 rows of the V-stitch rows. Then we have the single crochet row at the beginning, and we're going to do another single crochet row at the end. So what we do is chain 1 and turn. Then we're going to do the first single crochet into the very first double crochet, and then we're going to skip this chain 1 gap and work into the second double crochet, place a single crochet. Into the chain 2 stitch, we're going to place 2 single crochets, then a single crochet on top of the double crochet, a single crochet on top of the next double crochet. So basically we are skipping this chain 1, we are not working any stitch there. Then into the chain 2, place 2 single crochets, 1 single crochet onto the next double crochet, and onto the next 2 single crochets into the chain 2 stitch, 1 single crochet and another single crochet into the double crochet, then repeat to the end. I'll meet you at the end of the row and show you how to complete it. This is my row 15. And this is how we're going to work the last row of each of the panels. So you're going to work the last row of your back panel like this, then the last row of the 2 front panels just like these two. Now when you get to the last V-stitch, you're only going to place 1 single crochet into the chain 1 gap, into this gap right here. Just 1. Instead of working the double crochet with a single crochet and the last double crochet with a single crochet, we just place 1 single crochet into that last V-stitch, then chain 1 and cut off the yarn, and that is our last row. Now each of the 3 panels, that is the back panel and the 2 front panels, they start and end the same way. So the only difference is the number of rows. My front panel has 13, that is 13 V-stitch rows and 2 single crochet rows in total. Those are 15. My back panel has 39 rows. So I'm going to make another front panel like this one, and then I'll get back so that we can connect the 3 pieces together. So now right here I have my 2 front panels, each has 15 rows, and I'm holding them lengthwise like this. So then I'll need to turn them, but before then I'll get the back panel and place it in such a way that the part that is at the bottom is the wrong side. This is the shoulder part, this is the wrong side, this is the right side. Then I'll get the front panels, hold them in such a way that I'm on the wrong side. This is the wrong side, this is the right side. So the 2 right sides face each other. Right side, wrong. So wrong side, right side, wrong side. Either of the sides can be right or wrong. So we're going to attach these 2 panels over here. Then we're going to get the other panel and attach it on the other side. So I'll just grab my hook and I'm going to connect the hook, the yarn, insert the hook in the first row, single crochet row, and the first single crochet on the other side, and get the yarn. Then reconnect the yarn with a slip stitch and chain 1, then back into that row with a single crochet. That's the single crochet row, and it only gets 1 single crochet. Then we're going to get into the double crochet rows, this one on this side and the other one on the other side. I'm working over this end just to weave it in. So in the double crochet rows, we're going to place 2 single crochets. In the next double crochet rows, 2 single crochets. Two single crochets next. In the next rows, we are connecting this row and the other row on the other side. Place 2 single crochets into those 2 rows. 1 and 2. 2 single crochets next, and we're going to keep connecting till we get to this point. The last row right here is a single crochet row, and this one we connect it onto the next double crochet row like that. Chain 1 and cut off the yarn, and one of the shoulders is completely joined like this. So now I'll just turn to the other side and connect the other shoulder, the other front panel from this side, and I'll work all the way to a point right here. Then I'll get back once that is attached. The 2 sides of the shoulders are attached like this. So I'm just going to turn this to the right side. Before I do the sleeves, I'll do an edging on that front part of the kimono. So turn it to the right side And then from this point we're going to do a single crochet edging from the bottom of the front panel all the way through the neckline, all the way down to the bottom of the second front panel. We are now going to reconnect the yarn at that first stitch at the bottom with a slip stitch, then chain 1. After the chain 1, we insert the hook into that very first stitch, pull up a loop and do a single crochet into the next stitch, a single crochet into the third stitch, and I'm working over the ends just to weave them in. And I'm going to place one single crochet into every stitch till I get to the neckline. At the neckline we do not have stitches but rows, so I'll meet you there and show you how to work the single crochets onto the rows. I've gotten to the end of the last single crochet and I'm at the neckline where we have the double crochet rows, and therefore into each of the double crochet rows I'm going to work 2 single crochets, and then I'll also work over that end that I'm holding. So 2 single crochets into this first row, 2 single crochets into the next row, 2 single crochets into the row that follows, and then I'm going to place 2 single crochets into each of those rows till I get to the front panel on the other side, where I'll work 1 single crochet into each of the stitches to the end or to the bottom part. Place a single crochet into the very last stitch and chain 1, then get your pair of scissors and cut off the yarn. Then we're going to pull through and fasten, and we're done with that edging. So I'll just get my darning needle and I'm going to weave in those 2 ends. Now that the 3 panels are joined together, it's time to do the sleeves before we join the sides of the kimono. As you can see, we've only joined in the shoulder part. The other parts we're going to join after we've attached the sleeves. So I'm just going to illustrate to you, to explain to you how to do the sleeves. It's done exactly the same way as we've done the back panel and the front panel. The only difference is the number of stitches that we're going to do. I have my 2 sleeves ready. This is how they fold in. The starting chain for my sleeves is 73, that is 72, which is a multiple of 4 plus 1 to get me to 73. I've done a total of 25 rows with the V-stitch rows plus 2, so in total I have 27 rows for the sleeves. Time to attach the sleeves to the kimono. So I'm going to get the kimono and turn it like this and make sure that I'm working from the wrong side. Then I'm going to get the sleeve and I'm marking the middle part of the sleeve. I had a total of 27 rows. 27 divided by 2, that will be 13. So I've marked the 14th row, and then I'm going to attach that 14th row to the shoulder part on one side. Then I'll get the other sleeve and attach it the same way on the other side of the kimono, this one right here. So on the shoulder part on the other side, get the other sleeve, make sure that you've marked the 14th row. Maybe your sleeve is wider than mine, so you'll need to mark the middle row of your sleeve. So now I'm marking that part, joining the middle part of the sleeve to the shoulder part. And remember, we are working this on the wrong side of the kimono because we want to attach the sleeve from the wrong side. We want to do the joining from the wrong side. When we are joining the sleeve, we need to determine the number of the double crochet rows, and I have a total of 12.5 rows. Each of the double crochet rows is supposed to get 2 stitches, and that means because I have 12, I'll take 12 multiplied by 2, and that will be 24, plus the single crochet row, that will be 25, plus 1 single crochet on the row where we've marked, that will be 26. And therefore on the side of the main part of the kimono, I'm going to count 26 stitches, and that is where I'll start attaching my sleeve. Determine the number of rows that you're working with and count the same number of stitches, not the same number, but a number that corresponds the number of rows that you've done on the sleeve. I hope that makes sense. So I'm in my 26th stitch. I'll insert my hook there, then insert it into the first single crochet row on the sleeve. Then I'll get the yarn and connect it at that point with a slip stitch. After connecting the yarn, we're going to chain 1 and go back into that stitch with a single crochet, the same stitch where we've connected the yarn. Then we're going to go onto the stitch on this side, then onto the row we place a single crochet, and then we make sure that as we work the next row, the next stitch, we are also working in the same row that we've worked in, because that's a double crochet row and you should get 2 single crochets. In the stitch that follows and the row on the opposite side, so the stitch and the row, single crochet, and then we're going to go back into that row when we're doing the next stitch and the same row that we've already worked, place a single crochet, move on to the next stitch, and now we skip over to the next row and place a single crochet to connect the two, then the next stitch and the same row. I hope you're following. So now keep going like this until you get all the way to the end of the sleeve on the opposite side of the kimono. You should make sure that the last stitch is in the last single crochet stitch, a single crochet row on the sleeve, and that's what I'm working right now. So I'll work that last single crochet, then chain 1 and cut off the yarn, and we are done attaching that sleeve on one side. Pull through and fasten. Then I'm going to go onto the other side and then attach the other sleeve the same way we've done with this other side. We begin by counting the stitches, and then I'll go on attach this other sleeve off camera, then I'll be back once the sleeve is in place. I went on to attach the second sleeve, then after that I attached it from the wrist all the way down to the bottom of the kimono, and now that's the part that we need to do on the other side. So we're going to begin from the wrist part of the sleeve, and then we're just going to attach the corresponding stitches with single crochets from that point all the way down to the bottom of the kimono. And I'll start by marking out the armpit part just to align my work. The stitches are the same, so you shouldn't have any problem. You can actually do this part without marking, but I like to mark that part just to ensure that I'm aligning my work correctly. Then I'll just go to the beginning of the sleeve, I'll get my yarn, reconnect it there, and then I'll work single crochets all the way to the bottom. We insert the hook on one side of the sleeve in the first stitch, then insert it onto the first stitch on the other side. Then we grab the yarn, pull the yarn through and do a slip stitch. then chain 1, go back into that stitch and place a single crochet into it, skip to the next stitch on this side and the next stitch on the other side, do a single crochet. I'm working over the ends just to weave them in, so I'm just going to attach the corresponding stitches. I'm just going to attach the corresponding stitches with single crochets, and like I've mentioned, I'll work all the way to the bottom of the kimono. This should be simple. I'm sure you know how to attach stitches, so just go on, attach them, and I'll meet you at the end. Place the last single crochet into the last stitch, both stitches on the other side, then chain 1 and cut off the yarn, and at this point we are done with the kimono. All that's left is to weave in the ends, so I'll go on weaving the ends and then I'll be done. Now I'm just going to turn the kimono to the right side and then I'm going to try it on. Thank you so much for sticking around to the end of the tutorial. If you've enjoyed the tutorial, kindly leave a like, a comment, share, subscribe if you're not subscribed, and see you in the next tutorial.